Hey everybody, Richie here from Reckless Pixel Images, and I'm so excited. We had the Sinister Clown shoot a couple days ago, and I think it's fair to say that we knocked it out of the ballpark. I'm going to try to get to this, and I'm going to run through this relatively quick, although it could take a few minutes. But this video is not going to be the video talking about the whole shoot. But what I'm just going to do is run you through what I did to achieve the first edit, because I know everybody wants to, especially even the makeup artist and the model, they want to see how do you get from these raw images to that final image. And you can kind of see here's a preview of the final image out of camera. So in other words, that's the beginning. So let's just get right to it. Just a few quick notes. The started off while they were doing the makeup and everything like that. I put a speed light inside of the pumpkin, and I was experimenting with that. You can see the speed light in there. I can Photoshop that out, but that worked really good. And that was a technique we used to light the pumpkin rather than putting a candle. And then we proceeded on to doing portrait shots. And, some of these are test shots. This is a test shot. It's not framed up that well. But I got to also, give a heads up to it's OSF Costume Rental. OSF Costume Rental out of Oregon. And wait till this comes in here. Once this loads, and it should load relatively quickly there. This was an amazing Renaissance period piece with the ruffled collar. They are a theater rental company. They rent to theaters and movie sets and stuff like that. So I was really in love with this. It had a distressed look. It had frayed threads. Even the jacket, you can't see it here, but there was some fraying going on. And that is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want something brand new looking. I wanted something kind of distressed looking, but I wanted a period Renaissance piece. And Bruce at OSF Costume Rentals, and OSF stands for Oregon Shakespeare Festival. So shout out to him. And we go back to grid view now. Just real quick, we went through, we shot a little over 230 photos, and I've deleted some of them and some of the bad ones. And we went through some different looks. This is still all portrait lighting, but then we went into the flashlight look, and you can see here, this is my assistant Tiny, and he almost looks more sinister than the clown, doesn't he? Look at him. Oh my God, but what an amazing guy. And he's an amazing assistant. So, the flashlight look, you're telling the horror story when you're a little kid and you're trying to scare the kids that are younger than you, and you put the flashlight under your face. So that was achieved with just one speed light on the floor. That was it, very, very simple. But we had problems with it. When we transferred it over to the model, well, her bust and the ruffled collar give us some problems. But we worked on through it, and we got past it. These are all the pitfalls that you run into. You do it. You put the guy in the photo. It worked fine. Put her in there with, she's female, so she has a bust, and then the ruffled collar, and it gave us a little bit of a problem. But then we moved on down, and we started working with gels. And like right here, I started using a violet colored gel. Actually, that's not it. I'm sorry. Right in here, I started using this was a blue gel, but I guess it was right here. I think I was using violet colored gels, light blue gels, pink gels. I was trying some different things on my lights, and we had some stage lighting. When you had the spotlights coming down, and I just kept working through some different things. And then we got into some cobalt blue gels. And eventually, we took the whole show outside. That was Nicole's idea. There was a swing right outside the studio. So we headed out to the swing. And I wanted to do some outside shots. That I had that idea already, but I didn't know. I never thought of the swing out there. So we took some shots on the swing. We got the balloons out there. The balloons were not a whole lot of fun because it was very windy, but we work through it. I was up at, you see my speed here is 1/800th of a second. I don't normally shoot models that fast, and but we did get some good. I'm not going to show them right now, but there is some good balloon shots. And then we brought it back in, and I'll tell you what, it was when we came back into the studio the second time. I was kind of rejuvenated, and I went back to that violet colored gel, and I just kind of liked what it was doing here, and just the color it was creating. It's very, very subtle, but it was creating some color, and it was also accenting the blue that's here. So I worked with that gel, and then I started doing some side lighting. And when I got into the side lighting, eventually I got into this shot right here. Now, I will tell you that I love this shot. I love this shot a lot, but this is not my favorite shot. My favorite shot is still waiting for another edit. Okay, but I wanted to get a good shot out, so I chose this one. And let's just go, and this is what I did to it. Okay, so here we go. I didn't change any. Oh, I did change the white balance to flash. Okay, it was a little bit hotter, but I cooled it down a little bit, and then I just adjusted my contrast down, and I opened my shadows up. That's a standard thing that I do with almost every photo I edit. I set a white point and a black point, and then I also set a camera profile for that particular lens that I was shooting with, and that's done with the X-Rite color checker that you see, the little color palette that the model holds up. And then from there, I headed on over into Photoshop. So let's go over to Photoshop. Okay, here's the same image. We're at full screen and we're close up. And I just want to talk a little bit about what Jade did. Jade Alexandra Brown, the makeup artist. I mean, I cannot say enough. I could just sit here and ogle over what she did all night long. I mean, it's not perfect. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you right off the bat, it's not perfect. Nobody does perfect work. I don't do perfect work. But I'll point out some of the imperfections in a minute. But it's nothing compared to what she did. This is amazing, amazing work. Okay, so she gave me a lot to work with. She put these blood splatters up here, or paint. It's not really blood, it's just paint splatters. And she give a lot of texture. There's texture here. I don't know if she wanted that texture or if it was just starting to split. But we had spoken about this on the phone at length beforehand, how I wanted texture and I didn't want a smooth clown look and everything like that. So I ended up taking some of this stuff out. But I like it because I can either leave it in or take it out. And if it's not there, I can't leave it in. I gotta put it in. And it's easier to take something out than it is to put it in Photoshop. So this move here. This texture right here and this coloring. I mean, the teeth. I did the teeth, but she did the nails. I mean, the whole thing is just amazing. Now, just a little bit of a technical thing here is this is where the prosthetic ends and the skull cap starts. Okay, but that's easily covered up in Photoshop. These stray hairs easily pulled away. Like these lines and stuff, I love that. I wouldn't take that out for the world. Here we had the prosthetic lifting up just a little bit, and you can see where the prosthetic comes down and heads up over here. A little bit of lifting here. Now again, this is towards the end of the shoot, so it's understandable, very understandable, but very easily fixed in Photoshop. Okay, so without further ado, let's take it into Photoshop. Actually, we're in Photoshop, so here we are, and over here are all of our layers, and we have many, 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 many layers. This file is at 1.77 gigabytes. So, okay, let me just show you what I did. So, real quick, starting off, I did a standard edit where I removed the stuff that imperfections in the face. You can see I fixed the prosthetic and I took out some of that stuff. Turn that on, off. But there's also like some stray hairs. If you zoom in over here, you'll notice I took out stray hairs. And then we just go right on up through. So there's what we took out, and then we did a hue and saturation, and this hue and saturation colored the nails. Okay, I like the color they had, but for this particular edit, I wanted red, so I wanted something kind of bloodish looking, but these look kind of skanky looking too. So I know that's a horrible word, but and then I did another photo filter. This was a global photo filter that just it just added some tint. It's hard to see, but it put a little bit of yellowishness to it. And then we came up here, and if we turn on this smart filter, this was camera raw, and this was the eyes and the teeth, and also some stuff with the head there. But it's the eyes and the teeth is what I was working on there. And then we go up to, this is just a merged up layer. Now let me show you this layer here. This layer is where I put in that's what that layer looks like. Okay, it's a black and white HDR layer that I create separately in another file from the first file, and then I bring it back and I merge it together, and when I merge it, I get something like that. Okay, and then we come on up and we go into here, and this layer is now, this is Photoshop stuff, this is multiply, but when you do this, it makes the whole thing too dark. So what I like to do is lighten it up that way. And that lightened up the face, but it didn't lighten up that background. It kept the background dark. Okay, so moving right along. From here, I then go to this layer, which is a merged up layer of the previous layers. I know this gets confusing, but this is Photoshop. It's all about layers. And then all these layers here, the smoke left, smoke right, lightning, and more lightning, fog lower, fog above. I jump up to this layer here, and I add a grunge layer. And I'll show you what grunge is. It's nothing more than the picture of a cement wall. A cement wall that has been made green. That's it. Okay. But through the magic of Photoshop and layer modes, we change it into something that then what it does, I've taken it off of the face so you don't see any of the effect on the face, but the effect is throughout. It's hard to see, but it gives texture. It's in here. See those specks there. See specks up here. It's also in the background. Prevalent but dark. Okay, but this is all how you create that end look. If you like that end look, that's how it got there. Okay, so then I go on up, and this is now a little bit of lightning here, and then we do some photo filter work that corrects this purple. And that's what I wanted to say before I go on to that. I was liking that what the gel did to the overall look, but the white absorbed the gel way too much. The white in the collar and the white in here. And actually this had some silver. And it just absorbed that violet too much. And I needed to counteract that. And I wanted to turn it back to white. But at the same time, I cast the white to up here. And it's not too white. It's like a dirty white. very dirty. But that's the power of Photoshop. And then after doing all that, come back down and let's put in our fog. I'm sorry, that's not what I did. I came and I put in lightning. Yes, lightning. Got to have a little bit of lightning. That's my signature thing. And I did two different colors. They're a little bit different. This is a yellowish orange, and this is more of a real orange. I got that cosmic dust going on around here. Okay. And that's, all part of the feel, and that's kind of a signature thing that I do. And then after I did that, let's back out a little bit. Now, just so you know, the reason that you have this perimeter here is that's the full size of the photo, but I'm only the original end piece, end product is going to be just this part. So we came in and we did smoke left, okay, and then we did smoke right, and of course these have photo filters attached to them. Changes the little bit of the shading of the smoke, gives depth, and I'm sorry, I also forgot that I did some fog in the background. So I had orange fog and I had gray fog, and if you can see those, it kind of adds depth because they're behind everything else, and the smoke kind of comes around him, but the colored fogs stay in the background. It builds depth. Okay, and then and it's all done on different opacities. I mean, if you want to see okay, let's click on this one. You can see all my different layers of smoke that I did. Okay, so now we're coming up to the end result, and the end result is we turn this on, and when I turn this on, you notice I dulled down my lightning. I didn't want people to focus in 100% on that lightning, okay? And that's a lot of times what they do if you make the lightning too bright. So then we turn on this, and that gives us our final. And that was a plugin called Color Effects Pro, an unsharp mask. And in that Color Effects Pro, there's several different filters that are being used to create this feel. And if we want, we can just go to this. And that's it. That's my Sinister clown that Jade, Nicole, and I created out of inspiration from the images of the new Pennywise for the Stephen King novel It, that's going to be remade this next year. It's going to be released in 2017. Okay, everybody. I know that's kind of long. We're up here at 18, headed towards 19 minutes. Thanks so much for sticking with me. Hit like on the video. Hit subscribe to the channel. Check me out on social media, and I promise I'll be back with a lot of behind-the-scenes video and just some more stories about things that I broke at the photo shoot and didn't freak out about, and all the fun that we had. Okay, everybody, until next time, thanks so much. Thanks for stopping.